kangaroo. Or if it increases, then we may have to crawl like a snail. So nature has given everything in balance to the Mother Earth. Now, continuing our program, today we have with us Dr. Irfan Khurshid Shah, Assistant Professor, GDC Pampur, who is well versed with the knowledge of environmental sciences and is having very good eye on the environmental issues of India. He has got his PhD from IIT Delhi. So I would like to invite him to give a brief lecture on this theme. Please, sir. Irfan sir.
Respected Professor Mehrajuddin Shah, in charge of the college, Professor Dr. Hamidullah, convener of Debate and Signal Committee, other colleagues and students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today we have gathered to observe the World Environment Day, and I will try to do justice because in a brief time to make you understand or to just share some important views on the World Environment Day and its current theme. So, as you know, the environment in which we live is very, very important. So, there are importantly the components of the environment, which is air, water, and the other living organisms. So, this place human at the center of the environment. If we look through that perspective, then we see that air, water, and the other living organisms which are at the source of food to the human being are very much crucial to the human. A human can live without months without food, without eating anything. So the energy that's already stored in its biomass, it may exhaust, it may take months. A human can live for days, many days without taking any water. But a human may not survive many minutes without breathing oxygen, without breathing air. Fine? So this puts in the spotlight on the importance of the environment. So I will begin with why Environment Day. And this Environment Day is being celebrated to observe the first mega international conference on the environment, which was held in 1972, United Nations Conference on Human Environment. It's the first mega conference which was ever held in 1972. And I would like to tell you that every 20 years, there happens a mega conference on the environment happens. It happened in 1972. Then in 1992 we had UN Conference on Environment and Development. And then in 2012 we had the United Conference on the Sustainable Development. And it's interesting to note that the theme for today's the World Environment Day, Only One Earth, is the same theme which was there in 1974, when in fact the first World Environment Day was observed. The Earth is same, but the problems of the Earth have changed. The problems that we had in 1972, the environmental problems that we encountered in 1972 are not the same that we encountered in 2012, 2 decades later, and are not the same that we are encountering now, again 2 decades, almost 10 years later. Since the environment is the same, the problems have changed, so the approach has to change. Approach as well has to change. And I am very much conscious that I am talking to millennials. You all students, you are millennials. So you have all born after 2000. So you have a different kind of energy, a different kind of exergy in yourself that can deliver and help us in resolving and solving the environmental problems that may occur from time to time. So I will exhort you to identify potential in yourself and help us in saving this earth. Next. So if we talk as of now, the earth faces a triple planetary emergency. No, before that, I would like to tell you that about a brief history of the World Environment Day. And as I discussed that, as I told you, as I informed you, you are millennials. In 1970s, when the conference happened, and in the later years, when we used to observe the Environment Day, it was basically a fortnight observation. So some of teachers, Professor Mehraj might be remembering in SP College Hydrobiology lab, they will do in 80s, they will do a fortnight celebration for the Environment Day. And later, that was reduced to a week celebration. And then, these days now we have a UN has endorsed the Environmental Day. So whatever we had to deliver in that fortnight, now you millennials have the potential to deliver that in one day. Fine? So the problems that we have, the message, the essential message for this time's Environment Day, is that at the hand we have three important, emergencies, exigencies. They are the climate change. Our environment is changing. Our climate is changing. And it is changing beyond the adaptation, beyond the adaptability of the humans and other living organisms. I will discuss that later. Next, the habitat loss. The human dominance has reached to a point where the human ego is dominating the ecological principles. Now, human believes that it is the only organism who has the right to manipulate and destroy other organisms or live at the cost of other organisms, which is ultimately causing the habitat loss. And then there is pollution. Then importantly, there is pollution. We are polluting, we are poisoning our air, we are poisoning our water resources, and in fact we are also poisoning our food these days. Next. So the slogan or the theme for this year's Environment Day is only one Earth. Right? As it's very important to understand why our Earth is very unique. Some concepts were already discussed by Professors Dr. Mehraj and Dr. Hamidullah. So I will just quickly pass it over. The size and the location. As rightly said, Earth is a part of a planetary system, the solar system, where Sun is at the center, and the position of the Earth is very optimal. So if it was not placed at the position where it is right now, if it have placed near to the Earth or near to the Sun or away from the Sun, the scenario on the Earth would have been different. So if it was placed near to the Sun, then it would have been a very hot climate, there would have been a hot environment, and if it was placed away from its position, then it would have been a very frigid planet. Rightly said, as Dr. Hamidullah said, the size is very important. The Earth has an optimum size. What does that optimum size do? It's related to the gravity. As Hamidullah sir said that, if we had a more gravity, then we have to crawl like a snail. If we have a less gravity, then we have to jump like a gander. So this is the size and location is also very important. Then the neighbors, whatever is in the neighborhood of the planet Earth, it has helped in the life to thrive. For example, we have Moon. So it's a very inert kind of what we call satellite, right? So if there was some activity on it. Like we have, if there was some nuclear activity or other kind of activity happening on the moon, it would have definitely, influenced the environment on the Earth. And similarly, the biggest planet, the gigantic planet, Jupiter, it has its role in protecting Earth. Whatever, as we said that, side related to the gravity, fine. So when Jupiter is placed, near to the Earth, we can say near in the sense when we talk about the whole solar system. So it's very gigantic. It has a more gravity. So whatever is coming in the way of the Earth, it tries to distract it the other way. So if there was no Jupiter, so there could have been no life possible on the Earth. Then, if you see at the structure of the Earth itself, there are plates. The Earth, there is a liquid asthenosphere. Right? So Earth is like, small plates. They are stitched together and they are floating on some liquid substance. So if I cut a piece of paper and I put them in a glass of water, what will happen to them? They will float on that. So the land that we are standing on is not that firm. Under that is a liquid atmosphere on which it is floating. Fine? Now, how that is helping? It's helping in changing the form on the Earth. It helps in mountain building. It helps in, modifying the relief on the Earth. It helps in modifying the relief on the, and then the atmosphere.